The holographic display flickered in the dimly lit Situation Room beneath the Pentagon, casting an eerie blue glow across the faces of Earth's highest-ranking military and scientific advisors. Dr. Maya Patel stood perfectly still, her heart pounding as she presented the evidence that would forever change humanity's understanding of its place in the cosmos. "These quantum distortions aren't natural phenomena," she explained, gesturing to the complex data patterns floating before them. "They're artificial signatures, deliberately masked to avoid detection by conventional instruments. We've been watched, studied, and evaluated for at least the past 50 years." General Marcus Hayes leaned forward, his weathered face betraying no emotion. "You're certain about this, Dr. Patel?" "Absolutely." Maya manipulated the display, highlighting specific wavelength patterns. "My team at Quantum Horizons detected these anomalies while testing our new quantum sensing array. They're too precise, too structured to be anything but artificial. Someone has been monitoring every major human advancement, every technological breakthrough, every milestone we've achieved." The room erupted in hushed whispers, cut short by a sudden, deafening tone. Every screen, every device, every display in the room simultaneously activated, showing the same image, a being that appeared almost crystalline, with faceted features that seemed to shift and change as it moved. "Greetings, primitive species designation, human." The being spoke, its voice resonating with an artificial harmony. "I am Overseer Vax Toll of the Valkyrie Consortium. Your recent quantum detection capabilities have finally reached the minimal threshold required for contact acknowledgement." The dismissive tone in the alien's voice was unmistakable. General Hayes stood, squaring his shoulders. "This is General Marcus Hayes of the United Earth Defense Force. We—" Yes, Vax Toll interrupted, waving a crystalline appendage dismissively. "Your titles and organizational structures are thoroughly documented in our observation archives. Quite primitive, but marginally functional for your species' current development stage." Maya felt her face flush with anger, but kept her expression neutral as she studied the being's visual patterns. Something about the way it projected itself, the quantum signatures it emanated. "We've monitored your species' painfully slow progress for decades," Vax Toll continued. "Your recent stumbling attempts at quantum technology finally triggered our contact protocols. Though, I must say, watching your species discover basic principles we mastered millennia ago has been amusing. If you're so advanced," Maya found herself speaking before she could stop herself. "Why hide? Why not guide us?" The crystalline being's features shifted in what might have been their version of a laugh. "Guide you? One doesn't guide insects toward enlightenment, Dr. Patel. One simply observes their simple patterns with academic interest. Your species' primitive grasp of quantum mechanics is barely beyond watching primates discover tools." The insults stung, but Maya's mind was racing. The quantum signatures she was detecting from their transmission didn't match the obvious display of technological superiority. There was something off about the whole demonstration. "We're prepared to offer your species limited access to our observation data," Vax Toll announced magnanimously. "Perhaps studying your own development through our advanced perspective will help you comprehend just how far behind you truly are." General Hayes kept his composure, though Maya could see his jaw clenching. "And what do you expect in return for this generous offer?" "Expect? From you?" The alien's laughter filled the room again. "Your species has nothing to offer the consortium. Consider this a gesture of academic charity. We'll transmit the data package shortly. Do try not to be overwhelmed by it." The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving the room in stunned silence. Maya's mind was already working through the implications of what she'd observed. The quantum signatures, the irregularities in the transmission patterns. "Dr. Patel," General Hayes's voice cut through her thoughts. "You looked like you noticed something during that conversation." Maya nodded slowly, bringing up her quantum readings. "Their technology is advanced, yes, but there's something peculiar about their quantum signatures. They're using a form of quantum communication that's incredibly complex, But she paused, double-checking her calculations. But it's operating on principles we've already theorized. Principles my team has been working on in secret. Explain, Hayes demanded, moving closer to examine her data. The Valkyrie are using quantum fields to communicate and likely for their technology, but they're doing it in a way that suggests they've hit a plateau. They've perfected what they know, but a smile crept across Maya's face. They're not seeing the whole picture. My team's research into quantum dimensional folding. It's different. We're approaching it from an angle they haven't considered. Are you saying we might have something they don't? I'm saying, Maya replied, her mind already racing with possibilities, that while they've been watching us fumble around with quantum mechanics, we might have stumbled onto something they never imagined possible. They see us as insects, General, but they don't realize we've been building a web they can't even perceive. Hayes studied her for a long moment before turning to the room. Everyone out except Dr. Patel and Admiral Chen. As the room cleared, he turned back to Maya. Tell me about this quantum dimensional folding project of yours, Doctor. Tell me everything. Maya glanced at the quantum readings still floating in the air, a plan already forming in her mind. The Valkyrie had revealed themselves thinking humanity would bow to their superiority. Instead, they'd given Earth's brightest minds exactly the motivation they needed to prove them wrong. In her secure lab in Colorado, buried deep beneath the Rockies, the prototype quantum fold drive hummed quietly, waiting to show the galaxy that humanity was far more than anyone suspected. 6 months after the Valkyrie's condescending introduction to humanity, Dr. Maya Patel stood in a cavern carved deep beneath the Antarctic ice. The massive chamber housed Project Shadowfold, humanity's classified response to their newfound galactic neighbors. Banks of quantum computers lined the walls, their combined processing power dedicated to solving the mysteries of dimensional manipulation. The latest simulation results are ready, Dr. James Chen announced, his fingers dancing across holographic controls. He wasn't related to Admiral Chen, but their shared determination had made them natural allies in this endeavor. The quantum fold is stabilizing at microscale. Maya approached the central testing chamber, a spherical construct of advanced alloys and crystalline matrices. Inside, a marble-sized test object hovered in a containment field. Show me the numbers, James. The data streamed across her neural interface, a technology they'd developed specifically for this project. The Valkyrie's generous data package had proven useful, though not in the way their observers had intended. Every piece of information about their technology had helped Maya's team identify what the aliens had overlooked. They're so focused on manipulating quantum states directly, Maya murmured, studying the results. They never considered using quantum fields to access higher dimensions themselves. Admiral Sarah Chen entered the chamber, her presence commanding immediate attention. Since taking charge of Project Shadowfold's military aspects, she'd become an integral part of their work. Tell me you have good news, Dr. Patel. The Valkyrie are scheduling another evaluation of Earth's progress next month. Maya allowed herself a small smile. Show them, James. The test chamber hummed to life. The marble-sized object within began to shimmer, its edges becoming indistinct. Then, in a flash of purple light, it vanished. 2 seconds later, it reappeared exactly where it had started. Did it work? Admiral Chen asked, stepping closer to the chamber. Better than we hoped, James replied, pulling up the sensor logs. The object successfully transitioned through the 7th dimension, bypassing normal space entirely. Distance traveled, approximately 1 light-year. Admiral Chen's eyes widened. 1 light-year in 2 seconds. And the Valkyrie can't detect it, Maya finished. Their quantum sensors are sophisticated, but they're not designed to monitor dimensional transitions. To them, the object simply ceased to exist, then reappeared. No trace, no trail, nothing to track. The implications hung heavy in the air. For months, the Valkyrie had been sharing their technology with Earth, carefully controlled advancements that only emphasized humanity's perceived inferior status. Each demonstration came with patronizing explanations and reminders of how far humans had to go before being considered equals. How soon until we can scale it up? Admiral Chen asked, her mind clearly already moving to the next phase. Maya gestured to the far end of the cavern, where a shape loomed in the shadows. Lights slowly illuminated a vessel unlike anything humanity had built before. Sleek and dark, its hull was covered in geometric patterns that seemed to shift and flow in the light. The U.S. Phantom, Maya said with pride. First of her kind. We've been building her in parallel with our tests, incorporating everything we've learned. The quantum fold drive is already installed. We just need to complete the final calibrations. Admiral Chen walked around the ship, studying its lines. Size. Roughly the length of a nuclear submarine, James answered. Crew complement of 50. The fold drive takes up about a third of the internal volume, but the energy efficiency is exponentially better than anything the Valkyrie use. We can maintain dimensional transitions longer than should be theoretically possible. And weapons? The Admiral asked quietly. Maya's expression turned serious. We're not building a warship, Sarah. This is about proving ourselves, not starting a fight. No, Admiral Chen agreed, but we need to be prepared. The Valkyrie aren't going to simply accept that we've surpassed them in any way. We need to be ready for their reaction. Maya nodded reluctantly. The same principles that allow us to fold space can be applied defensively. We can generate quantum barriers that exist partially in higher dimensions. Theoretically, they should be impenetrable to conventional weapons. A klaxon suddenly blared through the facility. James rushed to his console. We're detecting quantum scans from orbit. The Valkyrie are early. How thorough are their scans? Admiral Chen demanded. Standard survey pattern. Maya replied, checking the readings. They're not looking for anything specific, just their usual condescending checkup on the primitives. She couldn't keep the bitterness from her voice. Through their neural interfaces, they watched the Valkyrie scan sweep the planet. When it passed over their facility, it detected exactly what their carefully constructed facade showed. A deep Earth research station studying geological phenomena. The quantum masking fields they'd developed performed perfectly. 2 weeks, Maya said once the scan had passed. Give me 2 weeks to complete the calibrations. Then we'll show them exactly what these primitives can do. Admiral Chen nodded, her eyes still fixed on the Phantom. 2 weeks. Make them count, Doctor. Humanity's future depends on what happens next. In the shadows of the cavern, the Phantom waited silently, its quantum systems pulsing with potential. Soon, it would emerge into a galaxy that thought it knew humanity's limits. Soon, they would learn how wrong they'd been. As Maya returned to work, she thought about the Valkyrie's first transmission, their dismissive attitude, their certainty of superiority. Watch closely, she whispered to their unseen observers. You're about to see what insects can really do. The U.S. Phantom hung in the void beyond Jupiter's orbit, its dark hull barely visible against the backdrop of space. Inside the bridge, Captain Sarah Chen sat in the command chair, surrounded by displays showing sensor data from across multiple dimensions. Her crew, hand-picked and trained in absolute secrecy, monitored their stations with focused intensity. Quantum fold drive is at full capacity, Dr. Maya Patel reported from her station. She'd insisted on being part of this first real space test, despite the risks. Dimensional matrices are stable. Status of Valkyrie observation posts? Sarah asked, her eyes fixed on the main viewport. Lieutenant James Wong, their sensor specialist, checked his readings. 3 automated stations within range, all focused on their usual surveillance of Earth. They haven't detected us yet. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. The Phantom had slipped past the entire Valkyrie detection network, using conventional drives at first, then short quantum jumps that mimicked normal space travel. Not once had they triggered any alarms. Begin test sequence alpha, Sarah ordered. Let's show them what this ship can really do. Maya's fingers danced across her console, initiating the quantum fold drive's startup sequence. The geometric patterns across the Phantom's hull began to pulse with a subtle purple light. Inside the ship, the crew felt a slight tingling as space-time itself began to bend around them. "Full drive engaged," Maya announced. Transitioning to 7th dimension in 3, 2, 1. Reality shifted. For a brief moment, the universe seemed to turn inside out. Through the viewport, they saw space itself fold like origami, revealing layers and angles that human minds weren't meant to comprehend. Then everything stabilized, and the Phantom emerged 50 light-years from its starting point. "Transition successful," Maya reported, her voice tight with controlled excitement. "All systems nominal. No detectable quantum wake." Sarah checked the tactical display. They'd emerged near a major Valkyrie transit route, though far enough away to avoid immediate detection. Status of Valkyrie traffic: 2 cargo vessels and a patrol ship within range, James reported. They're not reacting at all. Their sensors are passing right through us." Maya grinned. "The dimensional displacement field is working perfectly. We're partially phased into the 7th dimension, making us completely invisible to conventional sensors." Sarah stood, walking to the tactical display. The Valkyrie ships continued their normal operations, completely unaware of the human vessel observing them. "Begin passive data collection. Let's see what we can learn while we're here." For the next hour, the Phantom shadowed the Valkyrie vessels, gathering detailed scans of their technology. Every piece of data confirmed what Maya had theorized. The Valkyrie, for all their advanced technology, were limited by their own assumptions about what was possible. "Their quantum systems are incredibly sophisticated," Maya noted, studying the scan results. "But they're so focused on perfecting what they know, they've never looked beyond it. They don't even have sensors capable of detecting 7th-dimensional activity." A sudden alert caught their attention. James straightened at his station. "Captain, the patrol vessel is sending out a general broadcast. They're talking about Earth." "On speakers," Sarah commanded. A Valkyrie voice filled the bridge, its artificial harmony carrying the same condescending tone they'd grown accustomed to. "Attention vessels in proximity. Maintain distance from primitive species quarantine zone. Annual evaluation of species. Humans scheduled for next solar rotation. All traffic restricted during observation period." Sarah's jaw tightened. "Annual evaluation. They're planning another demonstration of our inadequacy." "Not this time," Maya said quietly. "The quantum fold drive is performing better than we hoped." "We're ready, Sarah." The captain turned to her friend and colleague. "You're certain? Once we reveal ourselves, there's no going back. The Valkyrie will have to acknowledge us, one way or another." Maya nodded. "The Phantom can outmaneuver anything they have. Our dimensional shifting capability gives us complete tactical advantage. And more importantly," she gestured to the scan results, "we understand their technology now. We can see its limitations, its weaknesses. They've never had to defend against something they don't believe is possible." Sarah returned to her command chair. Decision made. "Set course for Earth. We'll let them begin their evaluation. Let them gather their observers, prepare their condescending speeches. Then we'll show them exactly what humanity is capable of." As the Phantom slipped back into the 7th dimension, preparing for its return journey, Sarah thought about all the times the Valkyrie had dismissed humanity as primitive, as insects barely worth studying. In a few days, they would learn that sometimes the most dangerous creatures are the ones you underestimate. "Send word to command," she ordered. "Tell them Operation Humble Pride is ready to proceed. The Valkyrie want to evaluate humanity's progress." She watched as space folded around them once again. "Let's give them something worth evaluating." The ghost ship vanished into dimensions the Valkyrie had never thought to explore, carrying with it humanity's chance to rewrite their place in the galaxy. The observers would soon become the observed, and the primitives would teach the advanced a lesson about the danger of assumptions. In the quantum realm between dimensions, the Phantom moved silently toward its destiny, while its crew prepared to show the galaxy that humanity would no longer accept the role of cosmic entertainment. The Valkyrie evaluation fleet emerged from quantum space above Earth, their crystalline ships casting prismatic reflections in the sunlight. 5 vessels, each larger than anything humanity had supposedly achieved, arranged themselves in a display of casual superiority. Their arrival was precisely on schedule for their annual assessment of humanity's progress. Overseer Vaxtol stood on the bridge of his command ship, his crystalline features shifting in what his species considered amusement. Begin the scanning sequence. Let's see what amusing attempts at advancement our primitive subjects have made this cycle. In the Antarctic Facilities Command Center, Dr. James Chen watched the Valkyrie ships on their monitoring systems. Through secured quantum channels, he communicated with the Phantom, hidden in the 7th dimension just outside the Valkyrie's sensor range. "They're starting their scans," he reported, "running exactly the same search patterns as always." "Maintain quantum masking," Admiral Chen ordered from her position at Central Command. "Let them complete their initial survey." "Dr. Patel, is the Phantom ready?" Aboard the stealth vessel, Maya's voice came through clearly. "All systems optimal. Quantum fold drive is primed and stable. We can transition at your command." The Valkyrie scans swept Earth's surface, detecting exactly what they expected to find: modest advancements in quantum physics, early attempts at improved space travel, and various other technologies they considered primitive. Vaxtol prepared to begin his annual address, already savoring the carefully crafted condescension he would deliver. "Attention species designation. Human," his voice echoed through Earth's communication systems. "We have completed our annual evaluation of your technological progress. While your attempts at advancement are noteworthy for your level of development, we must once again express our disappointment at the rate of your evolution." Admiral Chen's voice cut through the transmission. "Thank you for your assessment, Overseer Vaxtol. However, we feel it's time to provide an evaluation of our own." The Valkyrie leader's crystalline features shifted in surprise at the unprecedented response. "Your own evaluation? How charmingly presumptuous. Please, enlighten us with your primitive perspectives." "Now, Captain Chen," Admiral Chen ordered. In that moment, reality itself seemed to fold. The U.S. Phantom emerged from the 7th dimension directly between the Valkyrie fleet and Earth, its hull patterns pulsing with purple energy. The sudden appearance of an unknown vessel sent the Valkyrie fleet into chaos. "Impossible," Vaxtol exclaimed. "Our sensors detected no approach, no quantum wake." His crew scrambled to analyze the vessel that had appeared from nowhere. "Greetings, Overseer." Captain Sarah Chen's voice carried the same tone of professional condescension the Valkyrie had used for so long. "Allow us to demonstrate some of our primitive achievements." The Phantom began to move, its hull shifting partially in and out of normal space. Valkyrie tracking systems couldn't lock onto it. Their most advanced sensors showed conflicting readings, unable to comprehend a vessel operating partially in higher dimensions. "This is some sort of deception," Vaxtol declared, though uncertainty had crept into his harmonic voice. "No primitive species could achieve dimensional manipulation of this level. That's the problem with considering others primitive, Overseer." Maya's voice joined the transmission. "You stopped looking for what they might achieve. While you were perfecting your quantum technology, we were exploring dimensions you never thought to examine." To demonstrate her point, the Phantom executed a series of maneuvers that defied conventional physics. It phased through solid matter, appeared simultaneously in multiple locations, and moved faster than any Valkyrie ship could track. "Impossible," Vaxtol whispered again, watching his sophisticated sensor systems fail to explain what they were witnessing. "Our observations, our data, were limited by your own assumptions," Admiral Chen finished. "You watched us discover quantum mechanics and assumed we would follow the same path you did. You never considered we might find a different way." The Phantom's hull patterns pulsed brighter, and suddenly every Valkyrie ship found their quantum systems temporarily offline. They hung in space, their advanced technology rendered momentarily useless by forces they didn't understand. "This is a demonstration, Overseer," Captain Chen announced, "not an attack. Your systems will restore shortly. Consider this an invitation to reevaluate your assessment of humanity's capabilities." As their systems came back online, the Valkyrie fleet detected quantum communications flooding in from their other observation posts. Similar vessels had been detected near their major installations across the sector, having moved unnoticed through their most secure space. "How many?" Vax-Toll demanded. "Enough," Admiral Chen replied simply. "Enough to demonstrate that humanity is ready to join galactic society as equals, not as subjects for study. We're prepared to share our discoveries, to work together for mutual advancement. But the era of condescension is over." The Phantom moved to hover directly before Vax-Toll's command ship, its dimensional manipulation technology now operating openly. The message was clear. Humanity had not only caught up, but had surpassed their observers in ways they never expected. "The choice is yours, Overseer," Admiral Chen concluded. "Shall we begin new negotiations as equals, or would you prefer another demonstration of primitive human ingenuity?" In the silence that followed, the Valkyrie fleet hung motionless, their crystalline ships reflecting the light of a world they had drastically underestimated. And in that silence, the balance of power in the galaxy shifted, rewritten by the species they had dismissed as barely worth watching. The age of humanity's submission to Valkyrie superiority was over. The age of collaboration, or conflict, was about to begin. 3 months after humanity's dramatic demonstration of 7th-Dimensional technology, the Great Hall of the Valkyrie High Council bore witness to something unprecedented. Humans standing as equals among the galaxy's most advanced species. Dr. Maya Patel stood at the presentation podium, the geometric patterns of her quantum-enhanced formal wear shifting subtly in harmony with the crystalline architecture around her. The U.S. Phantom hung in orbit above, a visible reminder of how dramatically the balance of power had shifted. Captain Sarah Chen watched from its bridge as Maya prepared to address the assembled representatives of 24 spacefaring civilizations. "Distinguished members of the Galactic Council," Maya began, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. "Today marks not just a new chapter in human history, but a potential revolution in our shared understanding of dimensional physics." The assembled aliens watched with varying degrees of interest and trepidation. The Valkyrie representatives, including a notably humbled Overseer Vax-Toll, sat rigid in their crystalline seats. The past months had forced them to completely reassess their position in the galaxy. "Our breakthrough in 7th-dimensional manipulation wasn't achieved in isolation," Maya continued, acknowledging the complex reality of their advancement. "The very act of being observed, of being underestimated, drove us to explore possibilities others had overlooked. In trying to prove ourselves worthy, we discovered something remarkable. There are always new ways to view the universe." Holographic displays activated around the chamber, showing the principles behind human dimensional folding technology. It wasn't the complete picture. Some secrets had to be kept. But it was enough to demonstrate how humanity had approached the problem from an entirely different angle. "We're not here to replace one form of superiority with another," Maya emphasized, her gaze meeting Vax-Toll's. "We're here to propose a new model of galactic cooperation, one where different perspectives aren't just tolerated, but actively sought out." In orbit, Sarah watched as representatives from various species leaned forward, their attention captured by the possibilities Maya was presenting. The Phantom sensors detected increased quantum communications between alien vessels, discussions, debates, and rapidly spreading interest in human innovations. Already, our preliminary collaborations with Valkyrie scientists have yielded fascinating results, Maya revealed, triggering another holographic display. By combining their mastery of quantum mechanics with our dimensional folding techniques, we've discovered entirely new principles of physics. Imagine what we might achieve if we all worked together, each contributing our unique perspectives. The chamber erupted in discussion. A representative from the Arxer Collective, a species known for their biological technology, rose to speak. "Your achievements are impressive, humans, but how can we trust you won't follow the same path as others? Power often leads to dominion." Maya smiled, activating one final display. It showed the plans for an international research center on Earth, open to scientists from all spacefaring species. Because we remember what it was like to be dismissed. We remember the hunger to prove ourselves, the drive to exceed expectations. We're not interested in domination. We want collaboration. From her command chair, Sarah noticed movement among the alien ships in orbit. Several vessels were adjusting their positions, moving closer to the Phantom. Not in threat, but in curiosity. Their sensors were actively studying the human ship, trying to understand its capabilities. "Let today mark the beginning of a new era," Maya concluded. "Not one of primitive and advanced, not of observers and observed, but of equals working together to unlock the mysteries of our universe. The dimensional barriers we've broken through are just the beginning. Imagine what other barriers we might break together." The response was immediate and overwhelming. Representatives from a dozen species rose to pledge their support for the proposed collaboration. Even the Valkyrie, after some internal debate, indicated their willingness to participate. As the session concluded, Maya received a private communication from Captain Chen. "They're calling it the human paradigm up here," Sarah reported, amusement in her voice. "Apparently, we've become an object lesson in the danger of underestimating developing species. Several civilizations are already revising their first contact protocols." Maya watched as alien representatives approached her, eager to discuss possible collaborations. "We've changed more than just the technology, Sarah. We've changed how they think about progress itself." In the months that followed, Earth became a hub of interstellar scientific cooperation. The Phantom's revolutionary technology sparked a renaissance in dimensional physics research. More importantly, it sparked a revolution in how advanced civilizations viewed emerging species. The Valkyrie, to their credit, adapted to the new reality with surprising grace. Overseer Vax Toll, in a private meeting with Maya and Sarah, admitted that humanity had taught them a valuable lesson about the dangers of assumption and the benefits of humility. 1 year after their dramatic revelation, humanity celebrated not just their technological achievement, but the transformation it had brought to galactic society. The U.S. Phantom, now one of many 7th-Dimensional vessels, continued to push the boundaries of what was possible, carrying human and alien crews on missions of discovery. In her lab beneath the Antarctic ice, Maya kept the original prototype of the quantum fold drive display prominently. Next to it sat a crystalline award from the Galactic Council, inscribed with words that would have seemed impossible just 2 years earlier. "To humanity, who reminded us that true advancement comes not from looking down on others, but from looking up at the stars together." The age of human observation was over. The age of human innovation had begun, and somewhere in the vast expanse of space, countless young civilizations were developing, knowing they would be welcomed not with condescension, but with curiosity and respect, thanks to the species that refused to accept their designated place in the cosmos.